IVE has a new comeback dropping soon, so this seems like the perfect time to discuss my completely unhinged headcanon about their Baddie music video. Some would say I am certifiably insane for liking this video in the first place. After watching it frame by frame on repeat dozens of times over while developing the script for this video, I feel like I'm trapped in a fever dream. My channel is absolutely going to be living up to its name today. So don't say I didn't warn you. Beneath all of its extensively hyper-stimulating maximalist grandeur, I think the Baddie music video has an entire plot. Specifically, I think that Baddie is a non-linear heist film. Think Christopher Nolan with cats. Allow me to explain. Part 1. Catch Me If You Can. Catch Me If You Can is one of the most oft-repeated lyrics in the song. Not coincidentally, it was also the name of a popular crime dramedy directed by Steven Spielberg that evidently was released in 2002 before some of you were born, so I won't be offended if you haven't heard of it previously. The film features Leonardo DiCaprio as a con artist and Tom Hanks as an agent intent on unraveling his hijinks. I'm not gonna lie, I only saw it once and gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, so it didn't make a huge impression on me other than it definitely having been about some well-executed robberies. I think the film is very intentionally referenced by the lyrics and likely served as an inspiration for the video concept itself, especially since it follows a non-linear storyline and the events are told out of order. The song Baddie actually begins with a glitch that creates a bup 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 sound, followed by the lyrics saying I'm a baddie bup bup baddie baddie, which is actually an onomatopoeia impersonating a glitch. This is very intentional. Glitches happen when a given piece of media is needing to be processed more quickly than the hardware playing it is capable of loading it. Rather, they happen when the computer is attempting to catch me if you can with the media it's trying to play. Part 2. Stock elements. One of the more chaotic aspects of the music video is the way that split-second stock images are constantly cut between shots. These stolen generic stock image elements seem random, but all tie into imagery affiliated with the heist. There are lots of cats, of course, along with additional shots featuring thunderstorms, lightning, fish, and one single frame of fire. These elements are cut into the narrative in such a way that they actually foreshadow the action, as we'll see in a bit when we actually go through what happens in the video in hopes of developing some sort of chronological timeline for the actual heist, independent of the order in which the events occur in the music video, which again I think is disjointed and achronological. The inclusion of the stock elements has the effect of creating excessive visual stimuli, which causes your brain to feel genuinely hyperstimulated by how much data is coming in, particularly by the end of the song when everything reaches a very loud climax containing multiple counter melodies simultaneously competing for your attention. The song is glitching and the video is so busy your brain feels like it's glitching right alongside it, trying to keep up with all of the apparent chaos. However, a flagship element of a heist is that there is always order humming beneath any apparent randomness, which Rick and Morty roasted the genre pretty brutally for in Season 4, Episode 3. Another aspect of the heist genre Rick and Morty skewered pretty hard in that episode was Part 3, the Caper Crew. For any good heist, there has to be a caper crew. A bona fide heist is a multiplayer operation requiring multiple moving parts working in tandem to execute a complicated, highly unexpected robbery. I believe that the Baddie music video tells the story of the 6 members of IVE executing a pre-planned mission to lift a bounty of ill-begotten cat food from a local supermarket. Our girls have broken into subunits to execute their mission. The A-Team: Iso, Cal, and Ray. Iso, the accomplice. Iso is the inside guy. Her primary role within the caper is to get the pieces in place prior to the active phase of the robbery. She goes through the supermarket and gathers all of the available copies of Super Kitty Shred so that they're easily accessible once the chaos ensues. Cal, the eyewitness. Her primary purpose will be to talk to the reporters later to provide first-hand eyewitness testimony of the terrifying encounter with the baddies, which will require a bit of deception. Ray, the burglar. Ray has 2 roles within the caper crew. She signals to Team B to let them know that the A-Team is in place to execute the heist, and then she swoops in after the scene has been cleared of bystanders to scoop up the goods. The B-Team: Liz and Wonyoung. Liz, the gadget guy. Liz is responsible for making sure the gadgets work as intended to execute the heist. She sets up a camera inside of a cat toy for the A-Team to do reconnaissance, allowing them to determine the locations of important landmarks and stashes of desirable retail. She'll also be responsible for rendezvousing with Ray to remove the ill-begotten goods from the scene. Wonyoung, the attacker. Wonyoung's role is to create a diversion that scares all of the bystanders out of the building in order to allow an opening for Ray and eventually Liz to claim the goods. So what about Yujin? Yujin, the fall guy. Yujin's role is actually quite critical, to take the blame for the heist, allowing the actual culprits to escape undetected. You can see that the media takes her narrative and begins to spin its own tale, likening Yujin to the black cat with the pink bow, whom we already know from the beginning is Wonyoung. Part 4. Reverse engineering a timeline. If you're a deranged psychopath watching this video frame by frame, you'll notice that they actually tell you the entire plot within the first few seconds of the video. Cat humans, are they real? Exclusive footage from yesterday night at the fish market in Los Angeles. Stranger danger alert, cat humans baddies. News of the moment, which is evidently warning, beware of attack cat, accompanied by a cat human warning in Los Angeles. At 2 seconds, the anchor shows an image we'll see again later of a cat jumping over a counter. Police still searching for more evidence on the cat attack incident last night at the fish market. Please report to... The next anchor asks, are these cats or humans? And promises exclusive video from last night incident. In the background of the picture on her screen, you'll see stacks of boxes we'll see later again during the heist itself. Disaster at fish market last night. Local cat warning. The attack of the baddies last night in the fish market. Hilariously enough, the next anchor asks, how many jobs will be lost? As if IVE's tuna fish heist is going to take the entire local economy. The following anchor has our culprits identified. He shows a picture not of black cats, but of the IVE girls themselves, wearing the gray and pink outfits we'll see them in throughout the video during the heist scenes. Great guys, we're 5 entire seconds into the video. This is great. I'm not losing my mind at all, really, I swear. We next see Wonyoung wearing a furry bunny hat like the one we saw Yujin wearing during the Off the Record video. In a burst of sparks, she transforms into a black cat with a pink ribbon and dashes off through the door in the back of what appears to be a workshop. I think that this happens after the A-team signals the B-team, but prior to the actual robbery occurring. The actual song begins as we see a bird's eye view from a pink furry shopping cart rushing down the aisles of what I can only assume is the fish market mentioned in the news articles at the beginning of the video. Iso shows us one of the tuna fish cans she and the girls will attempt to swipe later in the film. It zooms out and becomes clear that she's the one pushing the shopping cart we saw in the previous shot. The next shot shows a stock image of a bunch of fish on ice. Subsequently, a stock image cat, presumably representing a member of IVE, licks its lips in reverse at the sight of all of the fish. When Kal's portion of the rap kicks in, you see her casually stand in line next to Iso on the fish market, glancing at her phone but also on high alert as she and Iso conspicuously ignore one another. A cashier, who by some cruel twist of fate is named Cashier, God bless her, starts ringing up Iso's goods, but she can definitely tell something is sus. The second Catch Me If You Can is accompanied by a series of drawings of cats with text including the lyrics before showing the security camera we saw earlier on the news with the black cat, which wears the pink collar of the same color of Gal's hat and Iso's ribbon, jumping over the counter at the suspicious cashier. This is designed to show ideas of what happened during the actual attack, without showing the attack itself. Gotta keep it family friendly, you know? I believe the cat we just saw in the security camera footage is actually Wonyoung, who appears immediately following the shot of the cat jumping over the counter in what I think is a time skip backwards. We already saw her transform into a black cat at the beginning of the video, which I believe comes after this scene but before the robbery. In this scene, she's sharpening her claws and getting ready to fight. We briefly see her lying on top of a pile of mattresses in a grassy valley a la Princess and the Pea, with a giant black CGI cat lying behind her. I love the transition where she winks and swipes at the camera with her nail polish brush, which splits the screen into her glitch sequence. Liz's role in this escapade appears to be primarily keeping watch from afar. Her first shot shows her sitting next to a TV, which is playing a third-party recording of her testing out cam number 1 back at the store. A video within a video within a video, Inception style. I told you Christopher Nolan would come into this. This sequence is also an obvious time skip. She's watching footage she shot previously during the setup phase. I'm entertained by the fact that they totally did go to an American supermarket to shoot this because I recognize Fairlife Milk and Swiss Miss in the background on this shot, which presumably aren't readily available in Korea. This scene is followed by Ray's first glitching sequence, which leads into footage of the girls walking down an alley and then dancing around a bonfire. They are alley cats, after all. I think that this bonfire scene happens at the very end of the story, after the heist has been executed, based on the time of day. Seemingly around the same time and location of the bonfire, we see Yujin gazing up at an impossibly large full moon. It zooms in on her eyes, which transform into green cat eyes before cutting to Wonyoung, because Yujin's role is to convince others that she is the baddie, whom we know is really Wonyoung. Anyway, Wonyoung starts singing the chorus in what I'll refer to as the generic studio setting where IVE dances together. The lack of decor in this this room really contrasts with the busyness of all of the other settings throughout the video. The styling for this scene, which doesn't appear anywhere else in the video, is very high contrast, which in and of itself contrasts with the understated background. The outfits are in black, white, and red with lots of different textures and unique silhouettes. Yujin's red patent leather leg warmers and skirt are, without question, incredible. 10 out of 10 drip, or whatever you could say. Slay. I also particularly love Liz's outfit here, but honestly the whole package is a hard win for me. Each girl totally has her own vibe, and yet they all still look like they belong in a shot together because of the cohesive color palette. The dance sequence is also peppered with stock image shots of cats and lightning, which keeps the viewer off balance and prevents it from feeling boring despite staying in the same minimalist setting for far longer than any previous scenes in the video. We return to the market, now with a literal cat's eye view from inside a pink cat. This is the decoy cat that's holding the camera Liz was testing out earlier in the video. For further evidence that they really did shoot this stateside, you can totally see an Amazon pickup locker in one frame. The next shot is arguably one of the funniest in the entire video. It is Iso, Kaol, and Ray standing inside the back of a semi-truck that's located inside the pink decoy cat. Listen, I told you this headcanon was insane, okay? Just bear with me. Iso, Ray, and Kaol gaze back at us through pink furry cat eye cutout. The background in there is glitchy and we see multiple copies of all three members. This is the A-team, Iso, Kaol, and Ray. After dashing down more aisles, the decoy cat containing the A-team runs inside a pink cat condo conveniently located at the end of one of the aisles. Ray and Kaol both wrap from inside this cat house, which is filled with pink girly items, cat toys, and furry textures with pictures of cat on the walls. There's even a book called Cats on the Table. So many cute details in this set. Ray pulls out a megaphone and raps over some loudspeakers at one point. I believe this is her sending the signal from the A-team to indicate that they're in place for the heist to commence. After Kaol presses the mirror, we are treated to even more hilarious news articles. The text in the newspaper under the picture of Yujin's eyes references a, quote, doctor psychologist name, which is fucking hilarious. Clearly no one thought that anyone was going to frame by frame this bitch and read the fine print like a neurotic, hyper-focused maniac, but unfortunately for them, I exist and that is very much my MO. Actually, let's pause here to appreciate that while some of the text here is reasonably coherent, particularly that located towards the center of the frame in the lead story, most of the text on the sides is pure gibberish. They're real English words all right, but randomly slapped together with absolutely no rhyme or reason. Do enjoyment, defective operation, or we a favorite. I thought we were in Los Angeles, why's the U there? Certain it waiting no entered is, past her indeed uneasy shy polite appear denied, oh less girl no walk at he spot with 5 of you. It's starting to sound like Soyeon wrote this, no? Letter wooded direct to men indeed income sister, followed by cripe. We then cut to, where has Yujin been this whole time? She wasn't at the supermarket at all. We didn't see her back at headquarters, yet here she is claiming responsibility for the crime and revealing the identity of the baddies to the press? Tellingly, it is actually Wonyoung who sings this pre-chorus, the lyrics of which translate to, in this thriller, I'm the villain. In this thriller, Wonyoung really is the villain. Yujin is just the fall guy. As IVE's official leader, on some level, that's true to life as well. Yujin poses for the press and they zoom into a camera taking a shot of her, cuddling with the black CGI cat that I think is actually Wonyoung in disguise. This is showing the press buying into her narrative, that she is the baddie. The next scene is a dance scene in a setting I'm gonna refer to as the bad CGI Valley from now on. We've been here before, actually. We saw Wonyoung lying on a pile of mattresses here earlier in the video. A real highlight of the CGI Valley dance sequences for me is referee Liz. I love this styling so much. I love it even more because of how referees will get yelled at every game for making quote-unquote bad calls, but referee Liz is a home run for me, no question. After this dance sequence, another obvious time skip occurs and suddenly it's nightfall. Kaol carries with her a pink pentagram cape with 6 candles. The girls dance around the bonfire together. We then see Wonyoung in front of the same giant moon we saw Yujin pose in front of earlier. Again, driving home that metaphor that Yujin is pretending to be Wonyoung. They blow out the candles, and we cut to a panicked shot of American extras fleeing the fish market after the cat attack. Another brief shot of Yujin, the fall guy. We see Wonyoung wearing her bunny hat, which I think is a metaphor for her disguise, with Liz on top of a set of shipping containers surrounded by communications equipment. This is the B team. The black cat with the pink ribbon springs out from the two of them and dashes out of the cat house. I believe this is Wonyoung actually making her attack on the store after transforming from the bunny hood to cat form at the beginning of the video. Iso cuts the power and sparks rather dramatically fly out of all the power lines around them. That's not how power lines work, guys, but I'll roll with it. This scene is why all of the lightning stock images were included throughout the video, though. There's another dance break in the generic studio. Cal pozos outside and talks to reporters, presumably around the same time that Yujin did before Iso cut the power. Cal is our eyewitness, remember? She was there when the whole thing went down and saw it happen with her very own eyes. That was her role in our caper crew, and now she's speaking to the press about what she saw to corroborate Yujin's story. After the dance break, we see that Ray's time to shine has finally come. She snuck into the store earlier with Iso and Cowell and has been waiting to pounce from inside the cat house after sending out the message to Liz and Wonyoung that the game was on. Now that the coast is clear, she's inside to steal the goods left behind on the counter by Iso during the setup. As the extras flee in terror, Liz joins Ray inside the shop to unload the ill-begotten goods. Another shot of IVE walking down the alley amidst sparks, indicating that this is after Iso cut the power to the news crews. Ray opens a bag, presumably of Super Kitty shreds, to survey the contents. This shot is directly out of a heist movie for sure. They love to show shots from inside the chests as the villain opens it only to discover it was empty all along. It never fully establishes whether the girls got duped or not, but based on the fact that Liz throws one of the bags over her shoulder and Ray is visibly pouting as she's scanning the aisles for anything else worth taking, I think it's most likely that the cans were either all empty or in some way undesirable, thwarting their efforts. The next shot of Liz and Wonyoung establishes firmly that the shipping container housing their headquarters is located in Bad CGI Valley. Speaking of bad CGI, we next go to Yujin looking sexy with a fork while floating in a pool surrounded by what can only be described as some hilariously large koi fish and the smallest ever whale shark. This shot is definitely heavy on the metaphor and doesn't fit into my timeline neatly, but I like imagining it as a possible epilogue after the heist if it had been successful. The rest of the video just darts rapidly between all of the circumstances we saw previously during the video, creating a sense of building mayhem as the song builds to a climax before drawing it to a close as Wonyoung, our villain, waves goodbye and bids us catch me if you can. Part 5, in order. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. I took the entire music video apart, pulled out the plot line, and then put it back together in order so that you can watch it happen from start to finish. I'm not trying to get a copyright strike for no reason though, so you're just gonna have to listen to me butcher the rap in the meantime instead. I'm a baddie, baddie, pretty little risky baddie, molten daji, catch me if you can. Baddie, baddie, nanan upsagogi, imi ochapima chajitani, catch me if you can. Na 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 na. I'm a baddie, baddie, pretty little risky baddie, modern data, daji, catch me if you can. Baddie, baddie, aptatona girun machi kapuni nararu teni, catch me if you can. I'm a baddie, baddie, odi goody, babi gani, modern data, daji, catch me if you can. Baddie, baddie, nanan upsagogi imi, ochapima chajateni, catch me if you can. Bad. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. What do you think? Am I insane? Let me know in the comments if you enjoy these longer deep dives. Thanks for watching. Don't be toxic, and I'll catch you next time.